and our stock has been in the Instant Pot for several hours now, or if you did it in the crock pot, it might be you left it overnight on low. If you had it on the stovetop, maybe you simmered it overnight. Either way, but anyway, in the morning or after it's done its thing for several hours, you want to let it kind of cool down a bit. And we're going to open our guy up, and you can see that we've got a lot of just everything sort of brown looking. But it means that, you know, the stuff has really done its job. We've got a lot of the flavor and everything pulled out of the vegetables and out of the meat. And so now I'm going to pull this middle part out of here. You're going to pull your, you know, crock out of the crock pot or whatever, and we're going to go ahead and strain it. So I've got a big bowl here and just a little strainer that I'm going to sit inside. And I'm going to go ahead and pour the stock off. Watch out for splashing. Okay, you can see that we've got just all of our stuff in here. Everything is just really, really soft. The bones, look at the bones, have even gotten like you can just crush them between your fingers because of it's just been soaking. Look at that. It's like they just dissolve. And that's because we added that vinegar. And so that's helped pull everything out of the bones. And then also just being in hot water for so long and simmering really kind of pulls everything out. And that's awesome because it means that all that calcium and collagen and all the really good things that were holding those bones together and making them strong are now in your liquid and can go into your body, which is really, really good for you. So you do want to wait at least until this is cool enough that you're not going to like burn your hands, you know, if you're messing with it like this. Okay, for now we've got this bowl of stock, and I'm going to take nice quart containers, plastic containers. You can use leftover yogurt containers, or you can use mason jars. I wouldn't use mason jars if you plan to freeze the stock, but if you are going to keep it in the fridge, it keeps for quite a long time in the fridge, like several weeks. You'd be surprised how long it lasts. So if you don't want to freeze it, but you plan to use it over the next several weeks, that's fine. If you want to freeze it, I would suggest something like quart containers that are plastic. All right, so I'm just going to go ahead. I'm gonna leave a decent headspace. If you want to freeze it, leave, you know, a ½ inch or so headspace. You might find if you use a larger colander with larger holes, you might find you get some little particulates that maybe you don't want in there. If that's the case, I would do a second straining with like a finer mesh, either plastic or metal strainer, and that'll get a lot of those little bits out of there. The other thing that's going to happen as this totally cools down, especially once you put it in the fridge, is you may get a layer of fat on the top of there. And so what I usually do is I just put it in the fridge, give it a day or two to make sure that the fat really separates and solidifies on the top. And then I'll just scrape that off. I'll mix it in with our dog's food. Sometimes I'll use it to saute things if I'm going to use it right away if we're making dinner, and I'll use the fat from here in the pan, or I just toss it if I don't have any sort of immediate use for it, because it's got a lot of moisture in it, so it will go rancid relatively quickly. You don't want to just like keep it around like you might bacon grease or lard or something. Anyway, once you do that, you put this in the fridge, you take the fat off the top, it's ready to use. You can use it in so many different ways. We recommend that you use stock in any way that you would use water. So I'm gonna make rice for dinner tonight, and I'm gonna use stock instead of the water. It just adds a lot of great flavor, adds a lot of nutrition to the rice, and it's just a really great way to sort of sneak in nutrition, extra nutrition into your food. So when you're making rice, when you're making beans, I don't really recommend doing it for pasta because you're gonna toss a lot of that water out, but anywhere that you would put water into a soup or a stew, put stock instead. We also love to just drink it, especially like on a real cold day. It's so nice to just have a steaming cup of broth with lunch, or even instead of lunch. We'll do just a fasting day where we just drink stock all day, sip on hot stock all day, and it's just super yummy and nourishing and feels good, and we just love it. So yeah, that's it. That's how you get a little bit of extra value and a little bit of extra nutrition from a whole chicken or from any cuts of meat. Remember that you can keep around any cuts of meat, any bones that you get from pork, beef, even fish will work, and even some people save like shrimp shells and crab shells and stuff like that. You can save all that stuff in the freezer in a Ziploc bag, and then when you get 1 or 2 full bags, throw it into your crock pot, your Instant Pot, your stock pot, add some onions, carrots, and garlic, and celery or whatever, and make some stock. All right, thanks so much for watching. We'll see you next time.